Hey guys, it's me Jayzo, and this is gonna be what if Naruto had perfect control over fire and lightning. So this first part has no script. It's just gonna be off the top of my head. The way I'm gonna work this is I'm gonna make it to where like he can somewhat manipulate the element, but like not like Avatar level, if that makes sense. And how I'm gonna have it be to where it's because of the fusion between the Nine Tails and Kushina. I don't really know. I'm just gonna give it to him, right? And so, like most what ifs, this starts off at the Nine Tails attack. Actually, I know what I'm gonna do. So yeah, this starts off at the Nine Tails attack, and what happens is Naruto is born, and the same fight happens between Minato and Obito and the Kushina, the whole ceiling, the Nine Tails. But I'm gonna have it to where like there are certain spirits or like sprites around like the Naruto verse. I'm gonna do something with that in like later parts. But anyway, they're like these certain spirits that are like around the world and stuff, and the like boss spirits, the main spirit of fire, the fire element, and the lightning element went into Naruto. So with that, Naruto has basically perfect control over the elements, but like not off rip. So let's time skip to like 8 or so because I think that's whenever Naruto's in the academy. And in this, I'm not gonna make it to where he's smart, but he's actually gonna like learn stuff. So he's in Iruka's class and they're going over stuff about the first Hokage, his life, yada yada yada. And basically, Naruto's listening, he's jotting down notes like the rest of the class. Oh, like some of the class. And then Iruka points at Naruto and asks him to say a couple things about the first Hokage, just like seeing if he's paying attention. He Naruto proceeded to say that the Shodai Hokage was the one who founded the Hidden Leaf Village along with Madara. His brother was Tobirama, the Nidaime Hokage, and he also trained Gramps or the Sandaime. Um, Proceed to say more stuff about like the war, his life, and stuff. And then now they're outside after the whole thing over the first Hokage, Iruka asking questions. They're now outside training their taijutsu. Um, Naruto is now going to have a taijutsu battle against Kiba. And in this battle, of course, he loses. But I'm gonna have Naruto do is I'm gonna have him take bits and pieces from different people to make his own taijutsu style. So he gets some of the Inuzuka esque kind of fighting style, like they lunge and like they're low to the ground and stuff. And like he just starts practicing every time they have a taijutsu battle against a new person that's better than him. He would take part of their taijutsu and like implement it with like this own thing that he's creating. And by the time he's a genin, he's gonna have his own taijutsu style that he's just gonna be working on, right? So this little repeat of him fighting, like taijutsu, having taijutsu battles and stuff, him paying attention to his class, and all that is going on. And then before the Genin exams, Naruto is sleeping after he's really been tired out. He had multiple taijutsu battles. He was studying, and he came home and was just like practicing. And he went to sleep, and he ended up going into this weird place. He doesn't know exactly where it was. It felt like he was inside his brain, but like it also felt like real. And then these two physical forms manifested in front of him, this being the fire spirit and the lightning spirit. The lightning spirit is going to have more so a personality kind of like Sasuke, Madara, kind of. And the fire one is going to have more so like just like Naruto. No, I'm gonna flip it. Lightning one is like Naruto, and the fire one is like an Uchiha, but not really. So what I'm gonna say is the lightning spirit. He flew into Naruto that day because he was with the fire spirit. The fire spirit had like convinced him, saying that he just felt something from this child, and so they're there, and now they have conversation with Naruto. The fire spirit is talking to Naruto about who they are, what they're doing, and how because they are residing inside of him, he gets perks. Like now he has almost 100% control over fire, but that's only if he uses the chalk. Like he doesn't have control over fire if it's not made from chakra. It's only if it's made from chakra or has some. Yeah, it's only if it's made from chakra that it works because it's a spirit. So and chakra is made from spiritual and physical energy. So if it has any bit of spirituality in it, then Naruto should be able to control it. The same thing for the lightning. Also, with the fire spirit, he's able to regulate his body temperature. So he can be like perfectly warm whether he's in a cold climate or a warm or a really hot climate. So that's good. And with the lightning spirit, I'm gonna have him because of the neural link, not the neural link, but like just because of the tiny bit of electricity going through your body and how it can like how it works and how things how the brain processes stuff, I'm gonna say that Naruto's reflexes are innately his innate better reflexes than usual. So, yeah. With all that being said, Naruto is kind of stressed going back and forth from Fire Spirit to Lightning Spirit because they're both talking at the same time. But he's getting just like the gist of like what's going on and like what he has gotten from this Fire Spirit and this Lightning Spirit. Um, so yeah, after that, couple days after that, Naruto is just seeing what he can do, because since he doesn't have any fire jutsu or lightning jutsu, he can't exactly use it. But that's gonna change the day before the Genin exams. So we're gonna skip to that day, and by this time, Naruto has basically developed his taijutsu style. Not fully, but like somewhat developed his taijutsu style. And so now Naruto is fighting Sasuke. And in this, Sasuke ends up using the Fireball Jutsu. And Sasuke is his same brooding self, right? He's the Fireball Jutsu, and Naruto, knowing that he can somewhat control, he hasn't done it before, but he's gonna try. He puts his hand out, like he just does some random hand signs to make it seem like it's a jutsu. He puts his hands out, right? And then he slowly just moves them across while the fireball jutsu is heading at him. And the jutsu ends up turning. It just ends up redirecting itself. And then Naruto ends up using this redirection, spinning the fireball jutsu around and slinging it back at Sasuke, who ends up, even in his shock, ends up dodging it because it wasn't thrown back with more speed than it went at Naruto, and it wasn't that fast in general anyway. So now Naruto and everybody, the rest of his class is surprised, like asking Naruto like what he had done. But considering the Taijutsu battle was still going on, he didn't answer anything. So it was a back and forth between Naruto and Sasuke. Sasuke eventually won though because his Taijutsu style was like an actual one, and Naruto made one up from different styles combined. But he did do pretty well. And now we're gonna go to the Genin exams. So it's gonna go the same as in canon, and I'm gonna have Naruto pass the substitution and the henge, and his henge is actually really good for a Genin, but he still can't do the clone jutsu because he just has too much chakra for it. So now, what happens is Mizuki goes back up to Naruto, telling him how there's a second Genin exam where he can continue passing. He can like actually pass and become a Genin. And now Naruto accepts this, but is a bit skeptical, considering there's this whole thing that they gave him about in class how there's only one way to become a Genin, and that is passing the Genin exams. So Naruto does the same thing in canon and steals a scroll, but whenever he gets there, he gets multiple jutsu. I'm gonna give him three: the Shadow Clone Jutsu, Lightning Jutsu, and a Fire Jutsu. He remembers the lightning and the fire jutsu, but the only one he practices at that moment is the Shadow Clone Jutsu. And Mizuki gets there, does his whole speech. Iruka gets there. Same thing as in canon. Naruto beats Iruka. Yada yada yada. But now we're gonna go on to the team selection. And in the team selection, it's the same teams as in canon, whatever. So Kakashi ends up getting there, and in getting there, he sees his Genin. Naruto doesn't pull the same prank, so he says, "My first thought of you is you all are boring," and they all deadpan at him, considering he was late, but it's whatever. So they go to the top of the, they go onto the roof, and Kakashi asks them, uh, t- "So since we're a new team, we're gonna introduce ourselves." Sakura asked him for an example. He said he has some hobbies, but it's none of your business. My name is Kakashi Hatake. My likes are none of your business. My dislikes are none of your business, and I like reading. So then he says, "You're up first," and points to Sakura. Sakura does her little shenanigans. Same thing Sasuke does too. But Naruto says that what's it called? He says that his hobbies are practicing his taijutsu. He likes training, like in general. He loves eating ramen at Ichiraku's. He wants to be Hokage, and he also wants to help some of his friends with their goals. By friends, he's talking about the spirits. We're gonna talk about that in the next part. But after all that, Kakashi tells him that they should meet tomorrow at the Team 7 training spot, and that they probably shouldn't eat because he doesn't want them to throw up, or they shouldn't want to throw up and stuff. So they all listen to him and go home. But now, well, except for Naruto, because Naruto goes to what's it called? A little weaponry shop that he saw, like in like a deserted part of town. In that shop, he ends up giving the blacksmith something. Well, he ends up going to this blacksmith who he had met a while before, and he had asked him to make two swords for him. What were these two swords made out of? They were made out of chakra metal, some chakra metal that he had found while being chased by the villagers. It was near the forest of death, but like closer towards like the outer part of the village in this cave. He had found some weird metal and brought it to a blacksmith who actually didn't hate him and asked him what it was. Blacksmith said it was chakra metal and asked Naruto if he could buy it from him. Naruto asked what you can do with chakra metal, and the blacksmith just went into explaining you could like imbue it with chakra and stuff, and like whatever chakra affinity you have, you can put that into the sword, and the sword will have that effect. Naruto thinks about it for a second, and then proceeds to ask if he can make him a sword out of it, make him two short sword like Tanos out of it. The blacksmith looks at him for a while and says, why not? You found the chocolate metal and stuff. So for the next couple of days, the blacksmith had been making it, and the swords ended up being finished that day, right after the little introduction between Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. So after all that, Naruto gets his swords, and then he gets a new outfit, which will be explained in the next part. But Naruto then goes into his back into his house and goes to sleep and stuff. But this time he like at one point he learned how to go into his like mindscape sort of thing, but this time it ends up failing, and this is whenever he ends up meeting the Nine Tails. So the Nine Tails is in his cage and stuff, and he looks at Naruto saying, "Oh, so you're finally here." In his little deep voice, I don't know if I do. And ends up saying how he's a Nine Tails, and Naruto at this point already knows that the Nine Tails inside of him and stuff, so he's surprised, but like not that surprised. But in this, they end up having a little conversation, if you could even call it that, really. But Naruto ends up talking to the Nine Tails, and first that weave was crazy. I just dodged his attack. Anyway, so Naruto talked to him. The spirits were actually next to Naruto, which confused Kurama, and so they had their little talk about the spirits and whatever they were, whoever they were, and stuff. But yeah, Naruto ended up talking about how they went to his body like right after he was born. So considering he had just been sealed, that's probably why he didn't know. Um, and how they had a little problem with like their race of elementals or elemental spirits and stuff. But and Naruto's gonna try to help him with that. After this little talk, the spirits end up talking to Kurama while Naruto ends up actually like resting himself mentally and not just physically. And then Naruto wakes up the next day and he puts on the clothes that he got from that shop. He has his swords with him. He's ready. He has the two jutsus that he learned from this girl already. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this first part, which is like an introduction to like the whole story and stuff. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.